So I'm going to call the meeting together at 3:30. And as soon as I find a piece of paper, I'm going to record that. I'll keep some notes. 3:30 start, and we have 4 participants. And I'll just keep an eye out to see if anybody from the public shows up. Right now, I'm not seeing anybody. So I thought maybe it would make some sense, Catherine, if you would just, briefly walk through the budget, what's going on, your thoughts. I mean, we've all seen it. I assume that Joe and Christian have both had a chance to go through it. So why don't you just give us, like a high level overview of your 26 budget proposal?
Okay. As I noted on the first page, which is often the case, is that the personal services is contractual steps and cost of living adjustments only. There are no added hours or positions. It does include Sunday. There's 38 Sundays. And when we look at the narrative section, I have highlighted in red the places where there are changes from the prior year. And in HVAC, which is 5240, that has, I have a new contract there. I spoke with Steve and Kevin about it yesterday. So the library is now called upon to be a cooling center. And last summer, we had a lot of trouble with that. It got really hot and the equipment is taking a beating. And we couldn't keep it as cool as we would have liked. So to try to keep track of that and make sure that we're in good shape, I have a new contract with a contractor, Grinnell, who does the repair and maintenance for us. And by having a maintenance contract, we know that everything's in good condition before there's a problem. And it also puts us to the top of the list should we need a repair. We can get somebody out. Sometimes it's hard to get a plumber or whatever, and we're on their list. So that is $5,600, which is significant. But it has saved us a little bit in the repairs. So I've made those adjustments, but it's still an increase in that line item. And there was a slight increase in water testing, which is a regular thing that we've had done for years and years. The other increases, well, there are no increases actually. In professional services 5316, we looked at our software licensing and made some changes. We cut some things, but some things increased. So despite some changes, it turns out to be pretty much the same cost. There is a small portion of that, $5,700 worth, that applies to our state aid requirement for materials. Some of that's for the public use.
So can we back up a second?
Yep.
On 5244, the maintenance equipment.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, that's a decrease, a nice decrease.
Yeah, isn't it? We got a new printer service contract. And very often when you start a new contract, it will be at a reduced price because they want to get you for a customer. And then they hope you won't leave as those costs increase. So, we're not signed in for more than you can't do more than 3 years, but it's still an annual contract. But it's a nice price. So that saved us a little bit.
Okay. I was concerned. I thought maybe one of the things they maybe got rid of some printers, but that's not the case.
We did actually get rid of some printers.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We did, but that's because these are public printers that the public uses, and they're not using as many. So I think we dropped one.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. That's one of those little things. And then 5323 automatic network services, that's Noble. And they're a nonprofit technology partner. So that increase is contractual. That's part of what it's going to cost us to do business with them.
How long is the contract?
It's just for a year. It's all, we do it annually.
Okay,
So those numbers are adjusted every year. And a portion of those numbers are databases and materials that count for our municipal our materials expenditure requirement. But also sometimes the system itself you'll see increases. Last year it was 52,000. Next year it's 54,000. And those are increases based on the cost of doing business, of Noble doing business. And having said that, the value of what we get from Noble is incredible. I mean, we would never be able to do that on our own. That's the sharing of all of our resources and the whole computer system that makes that work. So we get great value for that dollar. And is that the only other change? Let's see.
well, the overdrive increase is significant, especially compared to 24.
Yes, so we voted on that overdrive increase. And because that's based on materials that will go directly to our patrons. And that number helps me meet the materials expenditure requirement.
Because that's like a 10% increase, more than 10,
Going from 22 to 25.
25 to 26. Well, year 25 to 26, but yes, from 22 to 25.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the event there was a problem and we didn't want to fund that there, I would take it from 5511 as part of the materials budget. But if I do that, it will increase the amount that I'll have to take from gifts to actually meet that target figure. I still need, even with everything that's in this budget, I still am anticipating spending between $10,000 and $20,000 of gifts and grants to meet that materials expenditure requirement.
Okay.
Which we have comfortably. That's a comfortable number for us to do that with.
Yeah, we've been comfortable for a while now. So Catherine, were you part of the, or I say, when did we transition from having to go for an exception? Because we did that for years and years and years.
Oh, that's been a long time.
Yeah,
So
that-
ever since you've been a director, we haven't had to go for the exception?
No, my
Hmm.
first year as a director, which would have been 2019, Steve met the requirement in 5511.
Okay. I'm
So
trying to remember when we transitioned from exceptions to, oh, we got it.
yeah, the exceptions were that was well before me. That was probably like 2011, 2012. Was it?
Okay.
It was a little crisis somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was a good 10 years ago.
Has it
Yeah,
been 10 years? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time flies.
yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. And then on the people, personnel services, those are all contractuals. So when's the next union up in terms of a 3-year agreement?
It goes so fast. It seems like we just settled, but I think within a year, they're gonna need to start looking at it again.
A year from now?
So we have
Okay.
one more. I think next year's budget will be the final year of that contract. 27.
Great. Okay. Kristen or Joe, do you guys got any questions? Want to throw at Catherine?
The only just clarifying one I had just on the Noble piece, is that variable based on usage or is that just based on their costs? For the cost of,
It's their costs.
Okay.
There are a number of, it's north of Boston Library Exchange, so there are a number of libraries involved. And and there is a small portion of it that will be affected by the number of people in your community. It's a formula that they use.
got it.
It's also run by the members. So we vote on that formula. So Linfield is included and Wakefield is, and we'll
Mhm.
look at circulation and what people own and what people use. But for the most part, it's all very close.
Yeah, I've found the Noble extremely beneficial. I've used it for a number of things. Getting books that the Wakefield doesn't have, and I can get it from, someplace else. Usually, the last couple times I've been able to get it from Melrose if, Wakefield didn't have it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great service.
So we all work together to collect what we can share. So if there's books that very few people are going to check out, not every single one of us has to own it, especially if
Right.
it's expensive, like a science book or something.
Yeah, that's what I was curious how, if it was based
Yeah.
on like a usage cost, right? Because if you have one going around, then that's obviously less money to spend on the resource, if it's shared among
Right.
more, but yeah.
So
that just-
probably the most expensive resource, aside from the sharing actually, is the computer system that allows that to happen. So the Evergreen system is open source, and that's, it allows us to do what we want to do as opposed to what a company wants us to do with it. And that's the catalog system, the acquisition system. So there's so many parts of that if we had to do that with private companies, it would be outrageous. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Christian? You all set?
think so. I guess just on office supplies. Looks like that's going up 12K. Is that related to any of the printer and computer stuff?
That's going, oh, no, it's not going up. It looks like it's going up because,
Or
no,
I guess over
it-
24, sorry.
yeah. Oh, you can still see 24? When I send it, sometimes the columns I hide are still there. And I do look at 24 when I'm constructing it, but sometimes I feel like that's gonna make you.
Yeah.
give
No,
you-
I see the request is the
Use-
same as 25, but there was a big jump from 24 to 25. So just
Oh, the jump from in 24 to 25, I think that is because the library shifted IT from the capital budget to the
Okay.
operating budget. That was at one time, the IT budget was really large and it was considered capital, and now it's a smaller expense.
Okay.
So we put it into operating. And the capital planning committee is very happy.
Yeah, I'm
So
good.
what about, go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on capital, so what's on the horizon that, is going to get, Joe involved more in terms of the building?
That was the
Yeah.
question I was gonna ask.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to steal your thunder, but
That's
I'm
quite all
always
right.
I'm thinking ahead, like, okay, what about this building? I mean, the
Mhm.
whole remodeling and everything we did was back in the 90s.
I
We're,
know.
we're moving up
know.
on 30 years since we've had obviously
Yep.
a major amount of work done. So what do you see on the horizon?
So I spoke with Joe because when we talk to the capital planning committee, we're gonna have to look at various scenarios. Because I have a lot of requests on the horizon. We're gonna have to look at the boilers. The chiller probably needs to be replaced. There are 4 rooftop units. I have estimates for those. Each rooftop unit is $40,000. A
Wow.
chiller is probably 150,000. The carpeting is all wearing out. We're doing our best to get that in piece by piece, but you know, that's the kind of thing that overnight it will fall apart, you know? So we're looking at carpeting. I'm also replacing the plumbing in the restrooms with automatic plumbing. And it's not an emergency, so I'm doing that piece by piece, room by room, as I have extra money.
When you say automatic, you talk the faucet will turn off automatically?
Yes, and you don't have to touch it to turn it on. And
Right.
actually, it's the toilets too. When you
Okay.
walk away from the toilet, it flushes
Yeah, it
automatically.
flushes automatically. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was happening is people flush with their feet. And so
Oh,
it was breaking the everything's breaking, everything's falling apart. Like it's rough. It gets rough use.
yeah.
Do
Well, it's a
you-
public building. So
Yeah, right.
Did
So
you,
the other I'm sorry.
Catherine, when you sent the request in for for this year,
Mhm.
have you sent it in to Joe Conway?
Yes,
Okay, and is
he
there
has,
something that is, because I'm the liaison for the capital planning committee. Is there something that's an oh my God item?
no, it's none
Okay.
of it is, there isn't anything, oh my God, that's an emergency. But
Okay.
when you look at the total picture, it's, oh my God. So I feel like we're at the point where the things that were 10 and 15 years out, we need to start having a plan for that now. You
Right.
know, we have the top, the front roof has just been replaced. So now might be a good time to put new, rooftop units on it.
Right.
The rear roof needs to be replaced. So how do we want to do that? Like, when do we want to do that? And when do we want to replace the stuff that goes on top of it?
Basic on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
All
sort
right.
of a plan they're gonna need. The other thing that we're gonna need soon is security cameras. The security cameras are old and the software is not good. Todd said he would help us with that, but that's another thing. And the final thing that's happening is that the access system, we have keypads where we get in and they don't make those anymore. So as they fall apart, our facilities guy is soldering them and buying circuits and all kinds of things to make them work. And those are not going to be easy to replace because we had somebody look at them and the modern way they do it isn't the way this building is wired. So that's going to be something that's going to take a little time. So I can't judge the cost because I don't really understand what it's going to need, but that's coming down the pike too. That might be about it.
Okay.
oh, good. Yeah, that's good. Good to keep an eye on that stuff. Excellent. All right. Anything else? Anybody? Joe,
Oh,
Catherine?
I'm good. As you said,
Tricia?
in your initial email, initial review, nothing stands out. It's pretty good. The budget's in very good shape in my view.
Yeah, this should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And I think 10 days or so, Catherine, you go before the town council. It's like the 2nd of February, something like that. And I have it,
Oh, no, it's the 10th.
the 10th.
I go on the 10th and then I'm at finance committee on the 13th.
And the 10th, I will be in Texas, but I should be at my hotel room in time to do the meeting. And because one of the things the town select, I think we still do, is we have one of the representatives of the finance subcommittee participates in that session. And I should be good to do that, but I might call on Joe to bail me out at the last minute.
No problem. No problem. We usually just do a little intro anyway, so it's
Yeah,
no-
we do. Yeah, we do something.
Yeah.
But I'll try I'll check my flights. I have a meeting that next morning with the state treasurer, and I do 529 work for the state of Texas. And they scheduled their meeting for the 11th in the morning. So I have to fly the night before. It's like, how do I make all this work? But I should be able to. We'll see. If my flight gets delayed, I might have a problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Anyway, if that's it, I think there's on the rest of the agenda said committee comments, but there's no one else to comment here. So unless there's anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn
So moved.
3:51. Christian, I think the nod there's a second.
That's a second.
Very good. I will consider this meeting adjourned. Thanhank you all. This is very good.
Thank you.
Take care.
And yeah, if anybody has any questions between now and the 10th, let us all know.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good
Okay.
day.